We have killed Ford, you and I. We are its murderers. Ford is dead. Ford remains dead. How can we console ourselves? Who will wipe this blood off our hands? Yeah, it's pretty dead. And you don't need Nietzsche to figure out that one. And the sad thing is, it's not because Ford has been a footnote in the TOB lists, in the company of industry giants like J and Vala and Ladder Logic, place 50 and lower, with a market share of less than 0.1%. But no, it's not that. And it has also nothing to do with the last Ford space mission. Yeah, that one was almost a decade ago. And in the meanwhile, the Ford NASA server has been sent to the large data center in the sky. I bet you didn't even notice it. But it's not that. You'll find a few clues of what went wrong when you read the paper on Philet's software development. After a few weeks of coding in the stack-oriented low-level Ford language, errors proved to be easy to commit and difficult to detect. That means you've never coded in Ford before? And you only found that out after a few weeks working with it? Development became a competition between code size, runtime performance and reliability criteria. Really isn't choosing between safe and capable and fast and small a challenge in all programming languages? Because Ford code is almost unreadable, as in other low-level assembly-like languages we had to strictly document each complex Ford hex word. Ford isn't unreadable if you're able to actually write a Ford program. Ford becomes unreadable if you're unable to write it. And that seems to be the case here. And what for Pete's sake is a hex word? Do you mean a name? Because yes, that's exactly the problem. All the people in the entire world who can actually write Ford fit very nicely in a medium-sized senior home. And we're losing them every year. And there's no new generation to take over the torch. In a way, I understand. I mean, I've seen this struggle in my own community, and I help where I can. But although I can show a newbie the way, I can't force him to walk it. But it's even worse. Even within the Ford community, there are prominent members who can't write Ford. And to fix that problem and hide their own incompetence, they promote local variables.
Are you serious right now? I can't believe you! You are unbelievable.
In another meeting, one of those senior citizens suggested that local variables are useful when one is defining a long word with many parameters. Really? Since when are we defining large words, instead of breaking them up in smaller pieces, with many variables? Since when is that practice considered good Ford programming? You want to counter me by claiming all my programs were trivial? Let me help you. No Ford program, whether it was a full-fledged preprocessor or a basic interpreter, has ever exceeded 3 Klog. So, I've said it. Happy now? So let me introduce you to Richard Wagner, who wrote an entire simulator for the HL-20 NASA lifting body in Ford. To give you an idea of the complexity of the code, my T-on-W program is a toy compared to that stuff. No comparison. So after a presentation on the subject, he got this question.
So, we had a conversation in the fourth 2020 group just recently about avoiding local variables, and one of the circumstances where people were saying, quadratic equations and complex calculations, you need local variables lots of times. And your code seems to dismiss that belief fairly well. What are your opinions about that?
And he gave this answer.
The only time I have ever needed to use locals is when I'm writing words to work with Windows. But in my experience, if you work through your problem correctly, just come up with a simple solution. And then you think about how you will properly decompose it and embody it in code. I don't typically find any need for locals whatsoever, even in code that's as complex as this. That's fourth. Right?
Richard, needless to say, is a real Ford programmer. Frankly, it is sad that so many want to be one, and just lack the talent, discipline, persistence and experience required. Without exception, the most vocal proponents of local variables in Ford just cannot do it. And the arguments they use, man, they are really outrageous. When the commercial party claimed there was a speed up and discarding local variables from an existing program, they countered, you didn't properly implement local variables. The fun part is, if you pull the paper, absolutely nothing suggests that this is even remotely true. Let alone the kind of Ford they so prominently present here. Oh dear, is this cutting edge Ford? Another one is, those who oppose local variables use a compiler that does not support them, and therefore they hate them. Well, if one black swan proves that not all swans are white, Ford shatters that conclusion. So let's do this. Let's do local variables. Ford 2012 compliant. Let's start with a function that is part of PP Ford, getOpt. It's a rock solid piece of software, but I don't understand it very well. I mean, what is the idea behind this? Start at the first argument, check whether the first argument is a dash, loop to all the characters, apply any options concerned, then take the next argument and continue the same procedure as last year until the arguments cease to start with a dash. Simple, huh? Now look here. Do you see that algorithm through all those lazy evaluated ifs? Because I don't. Sorry. But hey, let's not wallow in the mire. Let's do some programming. And this is the result. I still don't get the feeling that this is a solid piece of programming. But it works. And it didn't take a whole lot of effort. You can't even see it's Ford. So let's go back in time. Before 1994. Before Ansford was agreed upon, when people were still discussing it.
The applications for which Forth is best do not need local variables.
They do need a standard. They have a place here. Dark corners yield bad decisions.
Yeah, whatever is necessary to stop a recurrence of the Forth 83 debacle.
Anything can claim to be 83 standard. Is the standard too loose?
There are simply some things that I don't want included. Like locals.
Well said, no locals. Why no locals?
Locals make Forth almost as powerful as integer C.
Ha ha. Very funny.
And then I understood. The value of Ford does not lie in what was added to the language. The value of Ford lies in what was removed from the language. Go to, an expression parser, an automatic call stack, local variables, types. Therefore, it is so easy to make a mistake that you just have to break up your words into smaller ones. So it becomes easier to sniff out stack errors. Because no matter how good you are, you're bound to make them. And if you think you can just FAFO your way out of a problem, you'll even have to throw in the towel a lot sooner, believe me. The philosophy of the design of Ford sets you in a unique state of mind, which is hard to describe. But once you're in that zone, you can do wonders. I'm not the only one to have experienced it. Chuck did, Jeff did, Bernd did, Ed did, just to name a few. And I think William Hahn did as well. He is professor of mathematics at Florida Atlantic University and co-director of the Machine Perception and Cognitive Robotics Laboratory. And he had to say this about that.
Forth will change how you think. Not just about computers. And not just about programming. It'll change your mind. It's a fantastic language.
It's this ability, this unique mindset that will be lost once local variables have taken root. To me, that's more important than the entire language, because I've seen what it can do. And those who love local variables, well, they'll be stuck in their C mindset for the rest of their lives, desperately trying to convince themselves that they're actually writing Ford, instead of some brain-dead inter-C abomination, something so filthy that neither a C aficionado nor a 4 adept can possibly appreciate it.
What do you think of people who use local variables?
Honestly, probably sad losers.
I mean, there is no shame in writing C. I've evidently done it. 4th is written in C, and I still use it every now and then. It's got local variables, types, an expression parser, an automatic call stack, For Pete's sake, it type paces forward 99% of the time. If you're really that concerned about speed, it's a no-brainer. So what's there not to like? Just move to a language that obviously suits you much better. And ending on that positive note, I'm Hans Bezemer, and this was Back and Forth.